I'm scary. I have done. I feel like they could. Yes. Yeah. Make my sense because you told me. Oh, you have to try to handle them. You have to get rid of this. Like, I can't like my phone. I mean, that's good stuff. I know like he's gonna do it in the sheet. Yeah. Well, she directly said you did that. She was like, oh, that was last time. I didn't keep them like so we didn't want to get them to do it. Like I didn't want to talk about it. They're not there. But that's pretty much it. So anyways, I was so people just laughing at that's also double line. But they can't. And like they well, it's like you have a lot of people. But I mean, it's one very looking because they're taking notes. You really like go. Okay, so literally, I think so like we're sharing a thing on carrying the load and look to them and this is like her right there and share herself low chair taking up mine too. I want faster and she froze her computer up so I can't even do it to her. Like, I wasn't looking, I was just grabbing it. Oh wow. It was that. How did your observation go? Good. She said I mean worked with 354. Yeah, I did. But I was like, I mean, when I really years ago. Yeah. But she said that she liked that the kids wanted, although I did have one very, oh, was very active, and one that was like home. Yeah. But overall, South Center, I think it was much of the fun. One more. Like you having the basket, having it all sorted, so. But I was more nervous than I should have. Yeah. I was like, the little boy that was like, oh, that's. Oh, I have one that, yeah, but last, Wednesday, yesterday, and he just crashed out. And like, I've never, it hasn't been that bad. You know, in the hallway, girl. In the hallway, you smell like 4 or 5 times. And then when she told her like put away the toys, it was like 30, daytime or whatever. You stay with the light bulbs if you told her like only this. My bed, go to bed, go. The last. This one we do for the next one. Yeah. Because we're doing family, so just keep it simple. Yeah, because she said we're doing family next. And I couldn't remember something. Oh, to be family? Yeah, that's why I looked this one up and I was like, oh, this is easy. Oh, yes. I don't have to worry about them freaking. But you have your Oh, I think it's me. And you have your I had mine until that. Today? Yeah, today. It was horrible. So she didn't make it on time? Or did she made it on time? It just, I started my activity before she got here for some reason. And she couldn't seem to do the activity. And then by the time, because my classroom was like, they're all so like bad and like energetic and it's like I can't handle 19 students by myself. There's like 20 students in the class and I had to keep them engaged while I was reading the book. So I didn't keep 20 students engaged, like they're so intense. So then is your activity considered older or smaller? With my activity was smaller, but like I had books the whole time. Yeah. So was she, did she pick up on herself? Yeah, she did. So that's where like it went bad, like the small stuff or what that, which was the really, that they had the little, that they gave. That's actually showed me the small group, if you was here, the small group, you was seeing one so me. And the whole group went really bad, because they weren't listening and like me trying to catch what the students' attention. While like she's in the back kind until the rest students in the class and I'm just. Yeah, she comes from that. Yeah, that's what she said that too. Like my CT, she was like, I was crying yesterday myself because that was really bad and overwhelming for me. So she was saying the movie. The movie. Oh my god, I thought she was about that yesterday. I was like, I saw the TikTok yesterday at night after class, and I was like, is that why Josiah crashed on yesterday? Yesterday, Josiah, the kid that was crashing on. Yeah, I was like, you know what he crashed on? I feel emotional. Yeah, so what do you guys think about preschool though? Like, is that like, I was just thinking. I think of my own thing. With others. Yeah. I just started feeling it. And I don't know, that's like, or are you going to the first grade? That's what preschool is. So, I think I feel like there's two little. On him. Well, of course, like this school with CPS school. Was this for you in your second clinical? Honestly, I was that I didn't take this class last semester and I didn't know it's a requirement for the second. Yeah, get a little. Yeah, it's 7 5. Graduating together. What are you looking? What? 7 Case study. The kind that I had depends when you. Well, the presentation she wanted everything. I wanted the 6 o'clock. Okay. When you text me now. So freaking internet today. But you went through my presentation 4 times, not once she was getting me feedback. I was like, that's for you. Yeah. You go there last night and this morning. After my vision tells me I'm not going to the class. Parking out that day. So after class, I felt barely anyone was here. She was like, they're missing out. Oh my god, they're missing out. She just kept bringing it up. And I was like, oh, you're like, yeah, friend. People guys, I'm from my phone. It's like annoying. We have to send. We'll be there. I'm sure. So that my mom would say some of that don't fucking throw it at us. That's what I'm like, girl. I'm saying. He started asking me, like, oh, here's this so, and I'm like, oh, you were here, but you won't want to. Definitely wait for her. Yeah, because she was like, the first night, last night I asked Emma, I was like, did you wait for her yesterday? She said, yeah, I did. Well, they thought you were the book. You know, we can do the book. And the main actor is the here's how maybe. I don't know. I think we're just scared of it. Like, I just scared me. I'm like, I just no way that's such a like important class. Just grateful that she's. He didn't want to scare me today. So when he was talking to me, I was like, I'm sorry. That was so funny. So funny. Okay, right after the hour. This is usually how it looks when you put it up. Yes. My lesson plan is horrible. Why was that? I was like, you need to give my activity. Oh. I got my activity that before you got here for some reason, and it's like, by the time you got here, I've been about 20 students on the carpet, and I'm supposed to. What's she like? No, I feel that time. For some reason, she just made me start my activity. She got pregnant. I mean, I don't know. Like, and I think that's here, you could have done that. Oh, you know what? You take that. Yeah, my class, like they have like the dance dad bunch of kids discussion. Today, you just submit the long form. So, but when you did the first one, the three would have been. They would have one in the second one. Yeah, the one that she reviewed. I did, even in that, what was the for that? No, the first one. I usually second year in the part one, but then I just sent her my mom, so it was fine. Redo the whatever. Right, first one. Want me to put out the reflection? I did the reflection part. I did. And then like that, it's like my own teacher, she was like yesterday, she was like, I was finally called yesterday, she was like, oh, she was like, see, is that like, she has many students to deal with, and they're like, not in your seat. Yesterday, yeah, I was hearing it, they was like, you're telling me, she's like, no, I understand, and yesterday, I got what we want, and it was fine. And she's been here for years, and she's like, this is like, my far from what we found, and this is. She's like, yes, but so when I was wondering why, and then I think she was there, sometimes. I started to hello. Okay, everybody. It's good. Are you using your laptop? Huh? I don't use my Wi-Fi.
With the Wi-Fi.
There's no Wi-Fi.
The Wi-Fi stopped.
Doctor, should we just reschedule the class? To actually schedule. Oh, we gotta finish class December like 25. December 24. That. Okay. Look at the subject in another way. What? 3 people? Just one more?
Two more?
Three.
Three.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's three. So, four. Oh. That's not.
Really, missing class, this time when we skip a class. It's missing a class. I don't know how. Did you submit the quiz?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, are there early birds for presentation today? We have early bird presentations? Let's start with those.
Just one.
I just saw two hands.
Oh, only her.
I'm gonna go. Oh, not you. Okay, let's start with that. That's the good stuff. Let's start with that. Oh. Yeah. They can keep their own time. Can I connect? Megan, can you connect?
I think so.
Okay, good. Let me go plug somewhere else. Where are you the board? Telling me. Instead of what kind of computer is this?
The same thing happened yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's not, that is the question.
Mine that. Remember yesterday? Like everything. Oh, well, yeah.
With IBM, but yeah. No. So what?
The professor's laptop.
Laptop. Yeah, Dr. Maldonado. People, you know, like.
Use her professor's laptop.
But then you'd have to get.
But she's
Dr.
Are you sure that's the?
Can you first enter the address?
I don't think that makes sense.
Yeah. But it was the same thing. HTTP. Copy paste the HTTP. / LC.
Like, either you want to two, or you want 30, 100, or not.
That's the IP address. I don't think you will copy.
Okay.
Is that your wallpaper?
And that's not HDMI, that's something. Or do you put it in? And well, it's not HDMI. We're using the pin.
What about that? Isn't there like a green one?
That's the one.
A green one, not a green.
Okay. Is it better than me? Where's the instructions?
Yeah.
They're not making sense.
Mom, that also.
And then they tell you, nobody say to the guy, trying to change it. It's so HDMI. Oh. Connect that. Um, you- okay. Sorry?
That's right. They called one person before, remember? I think it was us. Huh? Was a different class. Was a different class or was it? No, I think it was Rachel. It was like Rachel. Yeah, I remember something. Wait, what was that?
No, no, picking up. That's not what you do. Can I go through right now? Go through, but Getting onto email and. Does anybody have an idea? Idea?
No, I have done that.
Is it gonna try it? Please do.
But I'm not hearing, you don't have to like give her access to your.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's four hundred, so it's. Hopefully.
It works. Yeah, it's some points.
Oh, oh. Yes, it's me, I don't know.
You can take this out.
Yeah.
That one.
You have it. Hold on. No, that's.
That goes with this one.
This one has that
This
one.
Wait, we're missing the tree. Different one.
So. What you doing right now? Purple. Maybe. Thank you. But if it's like.
And yesterday, right above it. So all these
I when I was listening to somebody told her that her class is not the first one. On that. You know,
it's a DPI. No, I know, but it's a DPI. Yeah, DPI. I wasn't. Sorry, that one.
but that is not.
I'm saying, when you're. It's
She had the. So.
There's those.
Why did.
The what? Yeah, so that scares me too, because I have. that. One, yeah. Back problem.
Yeah, I guess it's a good amount of we can. Oh, this is one we want.
And how?
Oh.
Oh, look, see? EDI. Is that input?
Those things come up, but is in the. Yeah, the options always come. Are you using a hotspot, buddy? What's this noise? Can you put it? Is all the lighting? Can you look at the other slide? Let's see what. No. Maybe it's for the darkness then? Can you see? You should be okay there. Is that better? No matter.
So, exploring social, emotional, and language growth case study. So introduction, Val is a 4-year-old boy who attends preschool 3 days a week. He attends in a mixed-age classroom where he lives with both of his parents and a younger sister who just turned 1. He is naturally curious and full of energy. He enjoys building with blocks, watching movie cards, and he also loves all things Spider-Man. He also loves listening to his mom, reading books, specifically picture books, and he also enjoys playing with his friends at school. But when he's in new environments, he tends to get a little shy. But he's also interested in dancing and storytelling. The purpose of the study, case study, was to look into his language and social emotional development. I wanted to know, how does the child interact with his mother during playtime and everyday routines. I wanted to see how he communicates ideas in both structured and unstructured settings, like unstructured like playing with blocks or toy cars, structured more like activities like story time. I also wanted to see how he interacts and responds when having a sister at home. Also, the purpose was to get insight into his communication skills and areas for improvement, which are extremely important for his future. Observation and process tools. To better understand Bell, I used 3 observation strategies. The first one was a parent interview. I asked his mom questions about his home communication, his reading routine, and how he interacts with having a sister at home. Play observation, I observed Bell at home through video while he played by himself and played pretend with toy cars. I noticed how he solved problems both during play and communicated with his mom, and also used his imagination. And then the third one was a reading activity. I observed him during a short story time with his mom. I noticed how he listened, commented, and responded to basic what and why questions about the story. His favorite book right now is If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. And then I basically took anecdotal notes and kind of like a short checklist to track his communication and play skills. And then data collection is I gathered information from 3 different sources. So the parent interview, play observations, and then a reading activity. The parent interview gave me details on how he communicates at home, his reading routine, and how he interacts with having a sister at home. His play observation showed me how he solved problems, used language, and communicated with his mother while also playing alone and with his cards. The reading activity showed me his ability to listen and make comments and answer basic what and why questions, especially during story time. And then these are the notes that I kind of took. So, for example, I noted down how he talks during playtime. Like, for example, he was telling his mom, like, look, my cars are racing. And then he was like, watch this one go fast. And then sometimes he got frustrated when certain things didn't work his way. Like, for example, when his car tipped over, he got a little annoyed by that. And then while reading the book, he would answer questions to his mom, like, that's silly. And then he would interrupt his mom while he was reading and be like, that's a mouse. And then when his sister tried to grab one of his blocks, he would say, that's mine. But then gave her a smaller one. And then he also showed her how to stack, and he was like this. And he was also able to tell his mom, like, okay, I'm tired now, like, he's like, I'm sleepy. And then I also asked his mom about how he behaved at school. And he tends to be way more, like, shy and quiet at school. But he's able to, talk around his peers and be playful sometimes, but then his teacher has to remind him sometimes to share. He also tends to get quiet when it's like large group activities in the classroom. I've also noticed that he doesn't like being told no. He gets frustrated really easily, and mom has to remind him twice to be nice. To his sister, he's also still learning how to share, but he also likes to be the center of the attention. And then he speaks in full, clear sentences. He shows great creativity and imagination through storytelling and play. He can explain what he's doing, for example, that red car is flying. And then he also openly communicates his emotions. Like when he's talking to his mom, he's like, I'm feeling tired. And when he's mad that something's not working out. And these are just some key findings. So his strengths would be he can speak in full and clear sentences. Like I said, shows great creativity and imagination through storytelling and play. He's able to explain what he's doing. He's able to explain what he's doing clearly. For example, when he was playing with his car, he was able to say, the red car is flying with Woody. He's able to openly communicate his emotions, like telling his mom, like, I'm tired or frustrated. And for areas for growth, he gets frustrated easily when playing when a toy does not move the way he wants to. With longer books that have less images, he has shorter attention span. And he also needs to learn patience when his mother's caring for his sister. And then sharing the findings with parents, I discussed what I saw with his mom in a positive way. I started with his strengths, such as how creative he is with his toy cars, how clearly he speaks during play, and how closely he listens and responds to questions during story time. I also brought up a few things to focus on, such as encouraging him not to give up when his stories don't work out, also keeping his attention during longer stories, and practicing sharing with his younger sister. His mom said she was happy to try and read more stories to him, and also letting him take the lead to help him build his confidence. And then use of data, how this data can support him at home. Mom could keep encouraging him to read together, but with shorter books to keep his focus. Simple turn-taking games, like for example with his sister, he could roll the ball back and forth. This can teach him patience and sharing. When he gets frustrated with toys, gentle reminders and showing him another solution can help him build patience. For school, teachers could give him opportunity to share his ideas in small groups rather than in front of everyone at once. Also, activities like show and tell, or partner play could help him gain confidence and practice speaking properly or clearly. And the overall goal is to help him develop his confidence and communication skills by giving him short, structured play opportunities to practice while also allowing him to express himself through play. And then tablet sharing, I shared my case study with on Padlet, which includes notes, reflection, observation from my analysis. I got feedback. I got feedback from classmates, which suggested adding more examples to show how these feelings, and also got suggestions such as using sentence starters so we can communicate these feelings. And
You're funded.
to the Padlet, which I shared with Vanessa and Alondra, and they were able to give me feedback, questions that they had.
Let's hear from the collaborator. You see what you want.
I answered about a week ago, so I don't remember too well. But I offered the sentence starters just
It's a no fault.
something.
Because that is the collaboration part is very important.
Like, sorry.
the collaboration part is important, so it takes some time. What happened?
The answer to that question is, this was the question getting started, was basically me showing
In the
what
beginning, okay.
and what I did and then. Since answer that information that he was communication skills,
Right.
I actually had as an answer.
Mhm.
He's having preschool. And this was like challenging moments or like funny, interesting moments. But started feeling that started not only understand but also further explain.
Mhm. Thank you, someone else?
So the first one, I was kind of curious more about his like family background, so like how many siblings he had
Mhm.
from the beginning.
Right.
And she answered that, yeah, was the oldest, the oldest child. So then that kind of, um, let me try. Okay, see. I forgot the place. So then, yeah, it was, well, that part was more of like how his siblings shape, and like his family shape his learning, and like help him with the beginning stuff. The other one was just. The second one was more of like how, she mentioned how he has to work a little bit more like confidence
Mhm.
and not being as shy. So I did mention that stories and like reading to him might help him just have more like leadership, even if it's during story time. Yeah. So perhaps reading about emotions can help him identify how he feels and how he should, you know, go on with this. Okay. And the third one, let's see what was the question? Like, so they. Oh yeah, and then I had a question with that. Is something that you do daily, just something that you do maybe once. Um, and then I don't know if I mentioned it there, but I also had a question if there was something that only mom does.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You are engaged.
Yeah, so I feel like if it's just the mom, or was it both the dad and the mom who usually read with him?
Yeah. How did it feel to have such engagement when you listened?
Good. I feel like their feedback helps me go back and really
Right.
also add more stuff.
You get support along the way. Is there anybody else?
So you said two or more people, so I did two.
Yeah, but good suggestions. I was going to ask you too, in what cases was playing by himself? Does he do that a lot?
Yeah, because he like,
Oh. The,
but no, he likes to play alone.
yeah,
When he's at school, because he was on weekends a week right now, because he has that like struggle
right.
of like going to school, so he goes weekends a week, and he has like kids at school that he plays with.
Yeah.
But like he mostly likes to be alone, because at home, before he had a sister, he was alone, so he's like, he grew up playing, like he doesn't have cousins or anything that are his age. They're all older, so they never really played with him. So he just grew up playing alone, and he likes to be that center of attention at home too.
Okay. And how long have you been in preschool?
He just started this year.
Just like this.
Yeah.
So when he was 3, he didn't go to preschool.
No, because he would live with mom at home.
Yeah.
He would basically like work with him.
And his sister is 1 year old.
I know.
Any more questions from Adam? More questions?
Oh, how long was your observation? Like,
Probably a little over maybe like an hour. But I did story time, which took like a good 15 minutes and then just watching him play for a little bit. Cause there's times where he would just run off into the kitchen or something, and mom would have to be like, "Okay, come back." And then he kind of took a nap, so then I had to wait for him to wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even credit about emotions, he would say he was tired. He would say he was frustrated. So he knows when to express maybe more of that. And you're right. When a new baby comes, the whole house is like I'm not anymore. So it should be incorporated in the new baby early activities of life. Does he feel lonely? Does he look lonely?
Not really. I mean, he has a good imagination. Like he prefers playing alone. Like when his sister comes by and she's like, like by him, and he's like, "No, don't touch that. I'm playing with that." And he'll be like, "Oh, play with that." And then I'll just remind him like that's not like like 'cause it's like small objects. So like I'm like, "No, don't give me that."
Comments?
Good job. Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Vanessa, for being collaborative. I encourage more people to get engaged. Once you get set up and you find people, all right. So it's only one presentation. Um,
I'm just gonna say no to my heart. I didn't understand.
So we have quite a bit of what to do. Let me show you what we have to do so you can move that. So we want to talk a little bit about standardized tests. Yes, we started out by looking at just a little bit. That. Talk a little bit about that includes standard school. We need to talk about the curve. We talk about internet test. With 2 minutes. I'm not sure. I will talk about it. The study guide. You get this done. Okay, so let's talk about standardized tests. Starting from exposure. Your exposure to and knowledge about standardized tests. You have done quite a bit of it, right? Remember the ECED? PRE, anybody? Any standardized test. Why do we say standardized? Think about it. Why? Why do we say standardized? What is standardized about it? What is that? What is standardized? Standardized is actually the procedures, nothing else. So the procedures are what is standardized. The test is done in exactly the same way by every student. Sometimes the test is done by a large group of students at the same time. Sometimes the standardized test is done by one individual student at a time, but still the procedures have to be exactly. Standardized test can be achievement test, means measuring how much of the curriculum the student was able to internalize, or standardized tests can be screening tests. measure students' achievement of my any domain, having social emotional language, reading, problem solving. So standardized tests can be anything, and there are varieties of them. Aptitude, kind of like a predictor, is that was aptitude to predict if you would survive in survive college curriculum. That is aptitude skill, standardized. The content test that you standardized. Features will be exactly the same. So what is standardized about standardized tests is actually the procedures, how everybody experiences the evaluation process. So with standardized tests, we get standard scores. What are standard scores? Standard scores, and we have to make sense of the standards. Okay. Now, standard scores are not, these are not scores that are special standard. They make up something magic about them or to help in some way perform really well. No, no. These are standard scores because they use something. If they're standard scores, they use little. Why do they use them? Well, this is a mathematical theorem. The mathematical principle approach to data organization and data interpretation. It was developed over 100 years ago and nobody has been able to prove it wrong. The standard normal curve. The normal curve and the standard normal curve are used in just about everything. When the Food and Drug Administration does tests to see if a drug is okay, or if a certain type of food is okay, or if use of certain chemicals are okay in food, they use the normal curve to estimate how much danger there will be. Okay, so the normal curve, the standard normal curve is just about everything. We go through life not knowing how much of the decisions are based actually on the standard normal. So what is the normal? I say it's a mathematical, but it's an approach to understanding huge amounts of data in terms of not just percentages, but proportions. And those proportions enable us to make decisions because we know, yes, we could be wrong, but how wrong? And are we able to live with that wrong in order to get the right part? So what I want to do today is for you to get the very first steps of this standard model. I'm not going to try to make you experts. You are not going to be experts. But parents will come to school with scores, the report card from standardized testing. They want to know how their child is doing. You are looking at them and say, what is that? I have no idea what this is. Or with the, that they'll test. They'll come with that and say, my child, this and this, the child is not doing well. What can I do? You have to be able to, it's not easy, let me tell you. I'm going to show you just a little bit today, and I'll give you a few examples. Just a little bit today. Let me start this way. I don't know if that'll okay. Your child, your niece, your nephew, comes home with scores from two subject areas. Social studies, the child has 90. Math, the child has 70. Here we are. Say something about.
What was 90 now?
I don't know what to say. Let me write it down so we can think together. So the child comes home with the score in social studies, 90. The score in math, 70. Please stop.
My reaction would be like, are you still here?
Okay, that's the first question. So the first question, how much, right? Because what is the 70 out of what is the 90 is that's not first step. Okay, or could even be out of it. Yes, for the bonus points. So the number itself, that score itself does not tell you. You need more information. Especially suitable. You need more information to make sense of it. You need more information to make sense of it. So first piece of information is what okay. So now let us assume that. Let us assume both of them were out of 100. We are under that one question now. React to that one. And not good? Why not?
Because, well,
You're gonna have lost about 30 points, right? Okay, so don't take it from everybody, really. When you talk, that's when you register your learning. You don't talk, you don't.
Like as a parent, you're looking at these numbers, you would say, they're having a hard time, concepts, and so. So,
Yeah.
I would agree that.
Okay? Say something. Say something. Talk.
You know, like a tutor or something from them.
You need a tutor for math. Okay. Anybody has any idea the contrary? First question was, what is the highest point? The second question would be, I guess, it's not coming to your mind, what's your own? Sorry?
for the highest.
What do you mean?
What was the highest score awarded?
One was the highest possible. Second question is, what is the point? I'm gonna be able to get to the number one. So essentially, standard accepted, because these are huge numbers, thousands. Now, look at it this way. What if for the math, the highest score was, no, okay. You're talking about the range now. Yes, that's essentially the correct question. What is the score range from 70 all the way down to 15 out of 100, but it's out of 100, right? And that child was the first one. What would you say? Talk about it now. Have you changed your mind? Talk about that so you can register it. Talk about it now. The score in this class was the highest, and this is the lowest. Changing your mind now. I'm beginning to help the parents understand. What if you realize that for the 90%, was all out of 100%? What if you realize that the score was all the way from 130 because of the bonus items to 90, down to 90? Talk about it now. The child missed a few. It's not terrible, but missed a few. The bonus items helped most of them, but this child probably ignored. Well, maybe that's another interpretation. How many questions have you answered so far? What was the first one? Please write it somewhere.
I have found many what was the dictation.
Second one.
What was that possible?
Oh, okay, so two questions. The second one.
No, that's the.
So, all right. So, you're beginning to see that when you have just one school, it really doesn't give you much. The second way to go is, I need more information and it's over to them. Now, what is that one? Working on this second question, on what was the highest and lowest score? By the way, if the highest is the potential, the highest was 70 and the lowest was 15. Now you have something that you call range. What's that? Range is highest minus lowest, which is what in this case. Okay. Make sense, everybody? Make sense, everybody?
Yes.
That's the range. This is a technical term. Range. The distance between highest and lowest. But this is a problem because it only utilizes two pieces of information. Just two pieces of information. But imagine if there are thousands of students, how many more numbers in between them? So we need a little bit more sophisticated information that only has the highest in the world.
For your extra kind of quizzes, of the mathematical thing, you just said rate, so I gave you the rate.
What about the? Let's stop. Let's stop. We need more information. It's as if that there is 10,000 students, 10,000 schools, gaming styles. There is 10,000 students. How many schools are you ignoring in the world? By ignoring so many schools that the rest between the kids, many schools. So how do you get the other set of information? You as a teacher, you're not going to look at how 10,000 students to see, oh, how did they do it from this time? No. That normal curve will be statistics are summary. It's numbers of actually summaries of numbers. You get them in various forms or anything. That means instead of just the range, you need other things. You need the mean, which means average. You also need the standard deviation. That is such an important term. You need that. I'm not ready for the tuning the board. How much? There's a lot of things. That is actually the average. Arithmetic average. What you do, add up all the numbers. Yeah. Because the standard deviation, some process, but typically that will be you be provided that. From the after the standard deviation. So these two things here are so important because they are so much more informative than mean or average is a measure of central tendency. A measure of central tendency. A tendency to cluster in the middle. A tendency of most people to be about. Tendency of having most of the schools around the town. Okay, so that The mean is that. Sometimes the mean will be that. The standard deviation gives you for all the schools for secondary. If you were to calculate the average, you add up the 10,000 scores divided by 10,000, and let's say the mean is 60, for example. The mean is 60. This is better than the range because it uses all the scores. The range is poor because I don't know. Now, if you get the average is 6, the average is 60. If you were to give every student in the class the same score, they divided up the scores they were already. But this is better than the I mean, better than the variability. I'm considering two things: central tendency and variability. Central tendency and variability. Range is a measure of variability. The tendency to spread out, to vary. Range is a measure of variability, the tendency to spread out. The mean average is a measure of tendency, clustering in the middle. Everything has a tendency to cluster in the middle. Anything. Tendency to cluster in the middle. So even though the mean is a good measure because it includes all students, and it is better than the mode and median. Central tendency are probably over. But the standard deviation, which is also a measure of variability, this is range, which is too cheap. Standard deviation. These two are measures of variability. And here you have the mean, okay. You have mode. What else? That's something else. Yeah. And the median on the road. That is the score in the middle. I'll tell you very quickly because I'm not going to. The central tendency, the arithmetic mean, average, the mode, which is the score that happens most of the time, repeats a lot. The median, which is the central score. If you organize the scores from highest to lowest, like from 70 to 15, and then you draw a line in the middle of that, one line of score, that middle score is the mode. That is also a very poor measure because it only takes one score, right? It's just one score. But the average, you add up everything in the score. The arithmetic mean is the best to know. The arithmetic mean average. Makes sense. So I want to give you a sense of what the standard is like. So we know the range is very poor. Oh, but what does the standard deviation do? It's the average distance, as I say. Average distance from, guess what? From what? Why? That is correct, from the mean. Because if everybody gets 60 points, that is the arithmetic mean, how many points away is the student who got 70? 10. Okay. How many points away is the student who got it? From the mean? How many points away? Hello? 60 from 15 from 60? Now, think of this student who's away from the mean by 10. Another student who's away from the mean by 45. Now, what the standard deviation does, it divides up that distance. Everybody now has equal distance from the mean. It's like, this is the mean right here, in the middle, here. Everybody else has the same. Somebody goes here, somebody goes here, somebody goes here, somebody goes here, somebody goes here. All the same. Does that make sense conceptually? My work is done in that. I'm not going to go any further. But if you're interested in how to calculate the standard deviation, it's more than happy. Even now with that in mind, let's do something that will help you understand the, the fundamental purpose of the number. Think of two things in your, let's say, when you, how many, oh, how many churches and how many bars? Or how many synagogues or how many mosques, how many houses of benefit. So write them on the side. Think of like 10 different neighborhoods, like neighborhood 1, 2, 3, 4. For each one of them have churches and worship. Churches and houses of worship. So neighborhood 1, can I say this or you're gonna forget? The board might say. Make 2 columns. Yeah. I leave that for a moment, but I have to do this. Let's say worship. What about this? Thank you. I know. Okay, neighborhood 1. How many? But the neighborhood can be. It can be. Um, no, you're oh, think of families. How many times they go to church? How many times they go to the bar? 10 families, that's easier, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so right on the back, all 10, right on the back where they are not. Until to get, yeah, 10 families, how many times they go? Don't check how many times they go. That's my. You figure out 1 week, 1 month. Okay. Anything you want. I need to be as flexible as possible and listen. Don't mess up the other side. You're gonna need the other side. I want you to understand the meaning of it. Very fast. 10 families, how many times? If for something else, that's fine. If it is not drinking and worship, something else. Let's have your data. When you're done, let me know. Doesn't matter. Huh? There's nothing. Doesn't matter. You got the data already? You're taking it out. What's happening? Good. So it doesn't matter, 1 month, 1 year, 1 week, don't worry about it.
Does it account for every family member in that?
No, let's say that maybe
Like, for instance, you have very, strong.
you're giving it too much. Head of the house.
Yeah, okay, head of the household.
I need to go to this level. Ready to move on to this one? You just need 10 sets of data. Okay, on this here. You see this line here? Skip one line, skip one column, and on the inside, okay, at the bottom, call it Y. And it- and skip one row from the bottom and draw a line that way. This is Y axis and X. So, no. Like, here, measurements here. That's running over it. Oh. Now plugging your data. Go to one axis and access something else. Make sure you know. If your numbers are 20, 10, 100, mark them some, that's two. 10, 20, 30. If it is 1, 2, 3, go 1, 2, 3, 4. Back here. Where the X line meets the Y line, put a little cross. Does it make sense? The same people, the same person has a Y data and an X data. The same time. Y data and first person, who is that? Let's say Thompson. Go to the bar 7 times. This is how many times does he go to worship? 5 times. So the line that has 5 and the line that has 7, where do they need it? You put a little cross. When I pay attention, you see it. Makes sense? Okay. Now do that for everybody. The same person has 2 pieces of data. Okay, what about the thing? How many times? How much? 5 and 5. Oh, okay. So 1 and 5, yes. Okay. Go to the next one. Go to the next one. How did I recommend the marks? Oh, okay. I would say, how did I recognize that? Every person has 2 mentions. Well,
They were taught in church on the
okay. Now connect the dots. Connect the dots. Okay. Each person has 2 pieces of data. So family 1, this is family 1. 20 times. Okay. Everybody has the real number here? Any
Well, this is like, this
five and you are gonna be right there, yeah. So you're not gonna be that. Base load is 10. So this is what. Can I? No, that's okay. This is only to get you to see the connect. That's why I give you so much.
Caroline.
Yeah, connect the dot. Connect the dot. You're connecting the data? Where are your data? Where's the numbers? You don't have the numbers? Where's your y-axis? And this is x. So let's say family one had 6 and 5. So I don't know how you're gonna do this. What is this?
The candy.
The
Candy?
candy.
Because this family, I'm sorry, I don't have this.
Okay. Let's say this is your y-axis and this is your x-axis. Okay. So family one goes to the bar 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hold it. But goes to whatever worship 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So where does the 10 meet the 5 right there? You make a match. You do the same for family 2 and then you connect the dots. Oh,
Actually.
right. Okay.
Go from this one up, down, down, up, up.
It's the one missing.
Okay. Have you connected the dots?
Here you go.
It doesn't have to be. Okay. Okay. This is the next thing over here. I need the two variables here are age and something. You can see. The two variables are the next thing we're doing. All right. If that didn't work very well, forget it. Let's work the one that for the night. Take your time to study that, like 1 minute. I'll wait. What are the variables?
Age in years.
Okay, age in one, months, days, and please pay attention and move with the group. Age in what? Age in years. What is the other variable?
Numbers.
What is the other variable? Okay. So this is about the number of people and age. In other words, how many people are there in X community? 78. How many people are there in this community over 78? So you have the age. Yeah, I mean, you have the age here. And you have the numbers of people. And I'm gonna give you another minute to study that and then I'll ask you a question.
We don't write on this, right?
No, don't write on it. I really just wanted to get the sense of
Thank you for that. Any bad, any bad.
okay. Move closer and go to the partner and answer this question. Go to the partner and answer this question because you're gonna go fast. Partner, partner. One for three people. Now listen to the question very carefully.
Let's go.
Well, that was to help you understand. It didn't work very well. But what the next one I give up? No, I didn't give up. Question one, and please listen carefully. How many people are 5 years old in this community? Follow the line that has number of people in thousands and the line that has 5 years old and mark the point what you need. And write the answer down in numbers. How many of them? Work with your partner. Two grades are better than one. How many people are 5 years old in this community?
Just because the trust about when you know. Yeah.
No, exactly, it's not, that's, okay, on the first, move on. It's a shift.
Question two, let's go faster.
Yeah.
How many people are 52 years old? 52 years old. in this community? How many of them? Question two, how many people are 52 years old? Oh my God, sorry. Okay, 12 years old. Okay. How many are 12 years old? 12, not 52.
That's number two?
Yes, how many people are 12 years old? That's right, don't tell anybody. Question three, how many are 18 years old? 18 years old. Mhm.
Wow, we're ready for you. Let's go.
Question four, how many are 20 years old? That was question what? That was question four.
Yes.
Question five, how many are 24 years old? This is working better using the y-axis. Question six, how many are 28 years old? Question 7, how many are 32 years old? 32.
Seven.
Question 7, how many are 32 years old? What number are we now? 8. How many? No, wait a minute.
After 32.
Okay, how many are 36 years old? 36. Number 9, how many are 40 years old? 40, 40. Mm-hmm. Question 10, how many are 41? Question 11, how many are 46? There's one more question. Question 11, how many are 46 years old?
Question 10. What's the other question?
11, how many are 46 years old? 46. And number 12, how many are 50 years old? Number 12, number 12, how many are 50 years old?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'll never know that. Yeah, you said 50 for the last.
Yes, 50. Okay, cross check your answers. So, somebody give the answers and get approval from other groups.
Oh.
Anybody want to put their neck up here? Number 1.
Just the one, 1,000. Which one? What's the number one?
Answer for number 1. How do you agree with that?
I did 19.
How many people are 5 years old?
1900 for one.
Another answer? Another answer? Okay.
250. Oh, that was because we thought it was gonna be 5. They're changing it.
Question 1, if you have 2,000, you're fine. If you are close to 2,000, maybe your eyes lie to you, but you're close enough. Number 2, what is the answer? 7,000 is correct.
Yeah, we were right.
Number 3,
15,000.
that is correct. Number 4,
19.
okay. Number 5, that is correct. Number 6, 37,500. That is correct. Number 7,
Yes. You said 25,800. Yes. We said the same thing. Yeah.
does anybody have 26,000? Close enough. Number 8,
20,500.
yes, 20,500. Number 9, 14,000 is correct. Number 10, 12,000 is correct. Number 11.
6,000.
Number 11, you said 7,000, you're good. Number 12, oh, close enough.
3,000.
Number 12 is 3,000. Now, do you now understand the X and Y axis? So when you want to plot your own data, you cannot do it. But the plotted data, you can actually do it.
Yes.
Okay, so that is data. You see how the line connects?
Yeah.
You see how the line connects?
Yeah.
Now, this is the normal curve, and this is an approximation of the standard normal curve. Anything in life, other than the things that are socially twisted, if you measure all the people by height, if you measure all the people by weight, if you measure all the people by the high appetite for ice cream, if you count all the pieces of hair on everybody's head, if you measure anything and measure large enough number of people, you're going to get an approximation of that curve. What does it mean? It means that very few will be on the extreme low and very few will be on the extreme high. If you measure everybody, if you have the ability to measure everybody in the world on something, don't say economic issues because those are twisted by politics. Natural phenomena. If you measure everybody the way nature created, you have very few at the low end and super very few at the higher end. You will get the bulk of them in the middle. Be right, be, 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 and I'm not saying that these are naturally occurring things. But of course, with the intervention, some of them good, some of them not so good, you have skewness, you have skew. You could have a lot of them in the lower end and very few of them on the upper end, like economic. Very many of them at the beginning, low income, huge number, and then it gets down that way. Why? Because of human intervention, because of how we intervene. So this has been used for hundreds of years, and nobody has been able to prove it. Why is it important? I'll tell you right now. Why should we even know about it? We need to know about it because it is always used in statistics performance. When standardized activity is doing itself. That's just to think about it. I'm just doing it. Okay, I'm going to give you a few minutes to observe that, observe it, observe it. Observe, observe, observe. Look at it until you listen. And so it makes sense. My coffee button. So next time you hear someone saying they hate the normal curve, like they hate it. It is used to interpret anything, not occurring. Very few occurring at the very low, very few occurring at the very high end, in the bulk of it. That is what. Yeah. Tendency to caution. So the range would be like from the highest to the lowest. You have the lowest on both ends.
What are these NC?
Sorry?
What are the NCEs?
Normal curve equivalence. Can I borrow one first? Okay. All right. So this bulge here, sorry, I don't have a copy. This bulge here is Actually, 68% of the entire bulge here in the middle. Please pay attention. This bulge here is 68%. You see this mark 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Okay. This is important. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, don't look at it. Look at it as this is the middle that gives you the highest point. And this is one standard deviation below the mean. The second one going that way is two standard deviations below the mean. And the third point going that way is three standard deviations below the mean. Now, what is this mark here? Yes. Why above the mean? Because the super mean is here, the arithmetic mean is here. This is the tip of the average. Now, one standard deviation above the mean, you're beginning to go to the higher end of it. On that scale. Higher end of it, you have fewer people. What is the second one? How many standard deviations above the mean? Two standard deviations above the mean. We're going higher above the mean. Two standard deviations. The numbers are getting smaller. Why? Because you have fewer people on extreme end. Very few people are super intelligent, and very few people are super stupid. Sorry to someone. Everybody will be somewhere in the middle. Now, according to the theory, these two lines never touch, they go on forever. That way too, they never touch. So this is the basis for interpreting scores. All these are standard scores. It was actually taken from an early childhood book. So when you see standard deviations, you see 0, the top line, 0, and then 1, -1, -2, -3. Going to the right, you see 0 + 1 + 2 + 3. Now, once this is organized this way of the normal curve, actually you can compare scores. You can compare those two scores. You know why? Because 90 would not be compared to 70. No. The mean of this score, the standard deviation of this group, would be used to compare them. And when you force these scores here, 90 is going to be below 70. Does make sense, does it? Does it or does it not? It doesn't?
Say it one more time, you have to say the other.
You see how we started and we said that was higher than that?
Yes.
But we ended up with enough. Okay. Now, these are raw scores, the scores that are paid up front. But in order for you to be able to compare them, you would have to get the average. What is the average in that class? Okay. And what is the standard deviation in that? The standard deviation here is a measure of variability that is calculated. And I'm not getting into that part. Once you have those two things, you can see, oh, okay, what was the average of these scores? The average was like what? Did we say? He said six, no, this was the highest number. Oh, he said, they said the average, the arithmetic average is what?
Sorry.
I don't remember how he said. Because there was so much bonus time, let's say the average was, let's say 90, or maybe this person was the average. Maybe that was the average. Okay, if that was the average, right?
So, so 130 with.
So if this person was right on the average, that means this person's score was right in the middle. Right? Does it make sense? That means 90 was right in the middle. I'll have to make sense to everybody. 90 was right in the middle. Okay. If the standard deviation was, let's say, 5 by calculation, that would be 9, the 90 would still remain in the middle. What if the average was 85? Oh, no. Yeah, what if the score, instead of 90, if we had 85 and the standard deviation is 5, well, that will be. Sub 90 is right on the line. But if the standard deviation is 10 or 20, that's right. That's right. What about the 70? Did we see what the average was here? Oh, yes, 50. Let's say the standard deviation is 10. What would that person be? One standard deviation above the two. So you can see the 90 here. 76. Get it? Does it make sense? You're expanding your brain. When you're thinking performance, numbers don't speak for themselves. When you hear someone telling you that numbers speak for themselves, say, wait a minute, no. Numbers give you exactly what was recorded. Whatever meaning you put in those numbers is the meaning you get out of it. Someone cannot just give you numbers. The numbers speak for themselves. No. Ask them what they mean. What do the numbers mean? So this, what do you tell this parent who comes complaining about 17 math and 19? Actually, the report card comes back. Hey, thank God. So you're going to look up where the score is. Is it here? Here? All the scores will be either here or somewhere in between. All the scores. And you know that going that way, you're going up higher. Going that way, you're going lower. Any score to the left, the middle line, or the average. Any score to the right of the middle line, are the average. So we can directly compare. Question. Thank you. Any questions? I just want that to be clear before we do the last thing. I'm going to go. But I'm going to give you this sheet. Let me put it. This is what nails it down. So this line in the middle is the average. Now you know that. And you know that these standard deviations go below the mean. So that is higher than that. And that is higher than that because they go lower that way. And they go higher that way. And there's always 3 below and always 3. What you're going to do, you're going to do this called on the side. Go in the front and talk. You're going to read this code on the side. The first thing you're going to do is plug in the average. Actually, extend this line. If you can extend this line all the way to the bottom, that'll be very helpful because then when you see the mean, you can just write it here. Write all the means down. And then come back and extend this line and put in the standard deviation. Because they're given the mean and standard deviation for every single school. The same way we would have put the mean and standard deviation. Oh, yeah. This one has to be answered. This one, everything. Oh, like, it too. Challenges your brain. So work with your partner, please talk. I can hear you talk. Everybody talk. Don't talk, you're not processing together. All right, give me 5 minutes. Get it done.
Yeah. Well, that was all you do. There's I wouldn't
What's computer?
Where's the data point?
What do you mean data point?
Trying to figure out.
Okay, you took time to extend that line. Right. So, if you, oh, if you break it up, then so this is your midline. Okay. Now, you don't need, what is the mean here? So write a zero. Okay, what is the standard deviation? Okay, so going that way is, going that way is, going that way is. Okay, that way too. Now draw that line so you can see. And then go to the second. Okay. The main zero, okay.
Yeah.
So one side deviation is one. Two. After it happens that. So my line.
Okay, it's done. But then these four would be here to like.
What is the means? You don't know them, because this is the average. I don't know for this.
Zero?
Yeah. What is the standard deviation? Okay, so what is this number here? One, right? No, one. What is this one? Two. What is that one? And this one is the negative side. Same thing. So that set of scores is done. Right, 50 in the middle. Yeah, you add to the 50.
Oh, 16.
Exactly. Got it. And going that way, you subtract the 10.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, you know. It's the same. And then, because this is the negative. You subtract, you subtract the amount. So once you add out, so one minus one. Okay.
But
Very good. Now, what is the mean here? Okay, what is the standard deviation?
okay,
So add subtraction. Subtraction that.
and it's just like the opposite. Oh, that would be similar.
That. Okay, so
You know, right?
For here, I'm trying to. From 60, like that way.
So I have
Just trying to get this for the center of it.
you don't actually write the actually. Yeah, that will. You.
The mean of one standard deviation is 60, right? And then we'll say anyone. The mean plus two standard deviations is 51. Yeah. 60 plus 10. 70, but the standard deviation- So,
Sorry, if you do.
right, right. That way it's subtracted. Does that make sense now?
Yeah, it's just looking for. And also, it's not.
What's the what is the?
115.
And standard deviation?
15.
So 15.
What is it?
45 or something.
Minus 15.
1%.
I said 85.
Okay.
Yeah, number 40.
So the means.
And then-
Here.
It was
Oh, one back.
My app.
Go plus one.
21. It's not.
Plus another one is- One.
Get it backwards, I don't confuse me. Oh, okay.
About this.
Thank you.
I'm feeling that way.
That was like 40. What about the That's my phone.
You got all the scores, everybody?
Cumulative now.
Yeah, that's a little troublesome. Yeah, that's cumulative. Sana is like,
Probably do 5 minutes with the phone.
but it's so now I should get this. This is the next thing we're going to do to finish up that part. Listen to me. We say the average ECED is 90, right? Okay, let me start with science. Let's make it different. Let's say the average is 95. So average here is 95 and the standard deviation is 5. Okay. Standard deviation equal 5, mean equal 95. Plug it in. And for the 70, x bar or mean equal let's say what is 60 and standard deviation for let's say 10. Plug it into. Plug those last two. Draw some lines at the bottom. Plug in the 90 and the social studies and the math. Average always, and then you add the standard deviation to the right, you subtract the deviation to the. So plugging in the social studies is 90, average is 95, so write 95 on the line to the middle. And then add the standard deviation to the right and subtract standard deviation to the right. What's the mean? Okay, and one standard deviation above the mean. Okay. Second one. Okay. Going to the left. So have you plugged in those last two?
How do you add it by chance? Or by?
It's over here. It says the standard deviation. That is what you. The standard deviation is this. And here the standard deviation is. So that I gave you the standard. And the 70, the standard deviation is. Now let's go back to basics. Moving. Okay, please. Moving this way, scores are higher always going to be higher. Now, which score is higher, social studies or math? On the normal curve, to the right is always higher than to the left. Right. Now, social studies where the child had 90 and math where the child had 70, both of them percent, which score is higher? Now you are forcing it on the no, I cannot comparable. No, I cannot compare them the way they are because the 90 has a different system. Okay, the mean is different. The standard is different. So is the math. The mean is different from the mean of social studies. The standard deviation is different from the standard deviation of social studies. To be comparable, you force it on a one scale. And or any number to the right is higher than any number. Sorry. Are you nodding?
Yeah.
Does it make sense? I see why 7 is high. It's confusing. Why? What's the confusion? Let's talk. What's the confusion? It's a positive. And then it's one. How many standard deviations above the mean? It doesn't matter. If it is to the right, it is high. Because it goes up that way. Oh. Let's take a break. Statistician. Take a break for 10 minutes. Come back. Now you know how it is sometimes called when they bring those report cards. Okay. Yeah, I'm so glad. Take a break. Take a break. That's why you guys do it. Get back to the pathway. Yeah. Take a break. You're now statisticians who tend to interpret standard scores. Two statistics. Interpret standard scores.
Yeah.
Mean and standard deviation.
And if I told that to a parent who didn't even have this class, they'd say, it's okay, I believe you.
You like it, Mandy? Does it make sense to you? A little bit. Makes sense. Make it make sense a lot.
Yeah.
For sure.
Ceremony. Then like a ceremony. Okay, welcome back. Statisticians, how do your brains feel now that you put in some muscle? You put in a new muscle. Okay, so we're going to wrap up. Coming up with minor new concepts, but now that you got to the point. Okay, so why do we have to? So we went through, have to know something about it. We are trying to develop minimal literacy in quantitative, making sense of evaluation information that is provided in numbers. So testing is necessary. It is part of assessment, right? But there are other concepts. Testing, measurement, assessment, evaluation. Are they the same? Are they one and the same? These definitions of key concepts here help you try to look at them through more observatory lens. The child, I'm doing an evaluation of the child, meaning I'm testing the child. I'm doing an assessment of the child, meaning I'm evaluating the data. They kind of use them interchangeably. But when you have done an assessment course and developed some skills in assessment and measurement, those terms are not the same. They mean different things, as it shows that. So the testing is the actual collection of data. It could be by answering questions and then you marking them to see how many they got right. It could be by having them perform a task and you marking on a report sheet to see how they did. So that is the test. It could be paper and pencil, could be you observing and entering the score. That is the testing part. The testing to see the skill. Measurement is actually the assignment of a numeric value to that performance level. If the child said the child is at level 3 of this grade, that 3 is the measurement. You're putting you are putting a numerical value to that grade. Okay, reading, let's say math, jumping, interacting with other children. If you have like a rating scale, this child is at 4 in interacting with other children. That 4, that's the measurement. You're putting a numerical value to that thing. Assessment is the whole robust process of collecting data and processing it, and the whole thing is assessment. When it comes to evaluation, it's very specific. Now you're putting a value judgment. I'm using this data from tests. I'm using this data from observation of activities. I'm using this other set of data from interviewing parents, and I'm using this other set of data from the child's performance in presenting show and tell. Now, these 5 different sets of data, I'm triangulating the data. I'm triangulating the data, putting the data together to evaluate, to make a value judgment. Should this child go to kindergarten or not? Does this child need remedial time or not? Does this child need special services or not? So evaluation is that point where you're using the different sets of data to make a value judgment. So that it can. But in the schools, in normal functioning, you'll see people using them in the thinker. Don't panic. But you as a professional, you know they're not the same. Which one do you think comes last? Or which one comes first?
For which one, for the assessments?
For those key concepts, which one has to wait until the others are done? Which one has to wait until some others are done? Why? Because you need data to evaluate. Testing is the process of collecting the data. You need the data to evaluate. Do you have to test in every assessment? Do you have to test in every assessment? Not in the sense of a paper and pencil or having them perform a task. You can just observe. Observe them in their normal functioning. Once you design a task, when you design a task, a set of questions, or an activity to observe, you're testing them, or you are collecting data. Can you do an evaluation without assessing? Would you have the data? Okay, so you can see the terms are actually different. And in order to assign a measurement, a numerical value to a trait, you have to do something. Observe, have them do something, or write responses that you look at. So you can assign numbers and process those numbers in ways like this to make sense. So these terms do not mean the same thing. They're closely related, but they're not the same. In the schools, on every day, in everyday functioning, you'll see them used interchangeably. But for you, you know. Reliability, what it says, consistency of measurements, like your bathroom scale. If you step in a bathroom scale in the morning, it says, oh, 90 pounds, you come back after lunch. 90 pounds, you come back after dinner. 90 pounds, is that consistent? 90, 90, 90 is not consistent. It is consistent. What if in the morning it says, oh, 300 pounds? You come back after lunch, oh, 120. You come back after dinner, it says, oh, 200. Is that consistent? Throw it away. It's measuring probably the temperature in the room, not your weight. So if it is not consistent, it cannot be valid. If it is not consistent, it cannot be valid. It has to be consistent first in order for it to determine whether it is valid. Now, validity is actually the accuracy, measuring exactly what it is supposed to measure. Is it measuring that or something else? I'll give you an example for validity. Saa ya bustani humo ndani inafanya kazi au haifanyi kazi? Please answer me. Hii saa ya bustani humo ndani inafanya kazi au haifanyi kazi? Humo ndani kuna saa, right? Hiyo saa inafanya kazi au haifanyi kazi?
Different language, so like that.
Let me get out.
You can break down the question.
Okay, saa inafanya kazi. Oh no, you're going to Google it. Saa inafanya kazi. Answer, please. Give me a no. Okay.
What does it mean?
Well, I was asking if that clock was working.
So I was right. That was a great answer.
So, did I measure what I wanted to measure? Did I measure what I wanted to measure? I wanted to measure anything to tell whether that clock was working or not. Did I measure that? What did I measure? I measured the language, the knowledge of Swahili. Yeah. You wanted me to write it down so we could go to Google, right? That happened. So my measuring was invalid. It was invalid. I did not measure what I thought I was measuring. I measured your knowledge of Swahili instead of measuring your knowledge of reading the clock. So consistency and targeting the intended trait. So you need both. You need both consistency and validity. Now, you need a consistency before you can think about validity. Why? Because you can jump on that scale and it says, you're 15 pounds, you come back later. You're 15 pounds, you come back tomorrow. You're 15 pounds. Is that consistent?
Yes.
Is it accurate? It's not measuring anything, really. So don't worry about validity. If the consistency is not there, forget it. Of course, you have to have appropriate, you have to be able to use tests appropriately, and you have to be able to interpret. I'm not going to talk about every slide, this take forever. Highlighting a few. Some of them are just informational, like the definitions. So let me these are titles. It's all these well. Yeah. You have made these limitations of what you can see, standardized. They test skills in isolation. Young children learn holistically. They may actually know something, but because of the way it's being tested, they may not know how. What about ignoring cultural linguistic diversity? Does it or does it not? Well, now they are available in different languages, but what if they're not available? May lead to wrong placement decisions. Does that happen? Influences teacher to teach to the test. If I know this item is going to be on the test, okay. Hear that? Okay. But they are useful. Those are useful ideas about them. They can make our children's learning school, but very broadly though. They made it very broadly and representing what everybody was taught in the school district because they are testing thousands and thousands. So it has to be super general. Okay. Large scale comparison. Have you heard of schools losing their funding because of sports? They would say, but They're using that word, I don't know for which purpose. So they can give some general understanding of view of achievement of the country. Numbing group short is the tens of thousands of students I was talking about, but they test so many and develop the statistics and you get the report card. This is how the student performed. This was the mean, this was the standard deviation, these were the NCEs, this is whatever else, and you make sense. The norming group is the large number of students that were used in creating the statistics, especially mean, standard deviation, standard error of measurement, even the range, that's important. Okay, you did aptitude tests. This, as I said earlier, this is your ability to survive in college. Just kidding, I didn't hear my talking too much. I know. All right, you did those. Standardized screening test. Oh, that's, oh, I didn't bring it with me. Remember the book that I told you, if you can find it in a library, take it? Remember which one it is? Does anybody have it? If you don't have it, you're missing out. The first three chapters are very, very important in terms of what we're talking about today. And it's easy to read. Yes, can you put it? Yes. Wow. I wonder, they are not producing it anymore, so what you can find is actually a secondhand one, but it is super good. Talking about these concepts of measurement, it was written by the president of Edison, the father of Jesus, in 2005, 5 years ago, but still really good. Okay, right. For screening tests, the examples in the first three chapters, actually all 6 chapters. And there are, can you open the back of that book, Maria, please? And just read the topics of the instruments found at the back. The title. No, yeah. The last pages, there are appendices, there is. Just read the title of those tests. Right. It could be. It has a name. There are like several. The top, they'll be at the top of the page. Well, no, go back. I mean, go, yeah, keep going that way. You see them. No, the other one. Yeah. That's important. I want everybody to hear so they can look for it. It's not that expensive.
ESI,
Okay, the ESI. Okay. Right, yeah, the appendices. Just read the title so we know what this is. Okay, what else? Okay. You see, those are tests. Those are actual instruments. That's why I told you to get that book.
oh, yes.
The S is there too. Okay. How much did you pay for that? You see? Why hasn't everybody got it? Does anybody have it?
All right, she said she got it at Walmart. Everyone check.
But now. Okay, there are 2 more slides I want to pay attention to here. So screening and diagnostic instruments are available. Oh, this is what I want. Okay, when you do a test, how much time do you have? Okay, let's talk about error really, really quickly. Error in testing. Every single score that has ever been assigned to you has error in it. Why? Because the testing is not accurate. Okay. Because when you get 50 in math, it doesn't mean you understand 50% of math or something. When you get all the items wrong, it doesn't mean you know nothing in math. So there's error. Where does the error come from? From poor lighting, you couldn't see the writing. from being hurried or running out of time, 5 minutes left, 1 minute left, or from poor wording, okay, or from you were not feeling well, you didn't have lunch. So the score that is assigned to you always has error. So any score, in principle, any score is actually the true score plus error. Any raw score is the true score, that is your performance, true score plus error. Nobody knows what the true score is. That's the problem. So when you get 85, that score is your true score, your performance plus error. Some of the error is about the teacher, how they did the test, about how they did it, about how they scored, the key was wrong, or whatever error comes from. How do we, how do we, how do we interpret scores with so much error? Some smart minds did they use the standard deviation. They use the standard deviation and calculated something called the standard error of measurement. They calculated that and realized that for any score that you are assigned, if you take that score that you are assigned, you add and subtract the standard error of measurement, that is your score band. I don't know if you're right there. Yeah, they give you a score band because the score band makes better sense than a single score. Talking about the standard error rate. You're given that number to interpret score. So if your score is 85, this is what is assigned to you. I know this has error. Say error 5 points, then I will know it's 80, but I cannot tell. It's the error 9 points, then my score will be even lower. I have no idea. So these statisticians came out with something. This is the opinion score plus n minus the standard error of measurement. Now, if the standard error of measurement is 5, you'll be given that. What is the score band for each year? Plus or minus the standard error of measurement, it gives you score band. So if the standard error of measurement is 5, that would be 5 plus n minus 5, right? That equals the score band. So that gives you how much if you take away 5, 80 all the way to 90. That is your score band. So instead of saying this student score is 85, right? 85, it's not magical. What it means is that the score is somewhere between 80 and 90. Meaning the score could be 80, could be 81, 82, could be 73, could be 74, could be all the way to 90. That is not necessarily better than that because you know the error and you can never tell what the true score. Well, those still have cutoff points. So the cutoff points are really arbitrary. Sometimes you can have the score bands overlapping. For example, if you have another one with a standard error of measurement of, let's say, 7, and the score, let's say, 10, and the score is, let's say, 78. So we want to determine the true score. So that will be, yeah, if the score is 78, plus and minus 10, that is the score band. So that would be how much? 70 all the way to oh, this will be 68, right? But subtracting 10 and adding 10 all the way to 88, that would be the score band. So the score of 78 would be 68, would be 69, would be 70, 71, would be all the way to 88. So you realize now, really, this person is not different from that person. So the bands overlap, right? So the determination, the clear-cut determination using specific scores is very arbitrary. So if you get the standard error of measurement, you add and subtract with the score band, and the statement is that the score would have been this or this or this. If in one subject area the score is lower and you use the standard error of measurement, you tell the parent to say this score is here, but it could have easily been this one. Could have easily been this one. Could have easily been this one. They're not written on stone that this is the cut of what you failed with that. No. Make sense? I think I'll stop here. So we minimize error testing. Minimizing error testing, good lighting, writing clearly, enough time, not worrying too much, all kinds of things to encourage students to. Everything else is self-explanatory. This is another one. But it is understandable, right? Category, you know, order, first, second, third. Now this code, can you guess what level of measurement are scored? Oh, right. Right. Okay, we'll get back to this in more detail as we come back. We're not going to have time to do the teacher made test, but we got through to this point. Well, it took a lot, took more time on the introduction than on the how much time now? We still have question. Sorry guys, for the comment. Let me know if there's anything you want me to highlight like this. Sorry. I haven't posted. Oh. I haven't posted it. I have a study there. Did you look at it? Is there anything that like, I don't know. You haven't looked at it? No. Well, so I haven't looked at it. You have to look at it now. So I look at it now. Go and find it. Oh, thank you. Okay, I'll remember. I'll mark it. Well, that is just let's say that. So what are we doing next class? Hello? What are we doing next? I'm coming here? Yeah. No. Oh, it's just asking. No, I'm looking at the syllabus.
But I had this, October, it's an interim exam, but it says interest.
It says in first.
Oh, this was the original.
Come here, see the right example, like one of. No. I think those sheets, the notes and-
Yes.
Okay, so we're not coming here, read the reason. And if you did not review your notes, I know. Sorry. Right?
I think that's, I was done. B.
Or beings. If you don't have any questions on the subject, I think you smart people, I So next class, the exam, is only the answer sheet by what time? October 16th. What are we doing on the 23rd? What are we doing on the 23rd? Who's presenting? Nice. Okay, so we're going to be here on the 23rd. If you come here next week, I will not be here. Just stay here during class time, but I will not be here. Signing and those statistics for you. On the 20th, you have what?
Understood? I have
You have what?
Oh.
You have the stuff. Email me if you have any questions. Right? Sign in and thanks for your attention.
Make sure you sign in.
Yes, oh. That's. Yeah. Time flies. I'm waiting for the signing sheet. Thank you for the sign. All right, ladies. What, anybody has another class?
No. I don't think. No, she said no.
Oh.
Yeah, but that's why.
Oh, because it's recorded and the voice line is being. I'll post it when I get home.
I was like, I
Thank
can
you
see
for
you
reminding
and
me.
change that. Like,
Oh, because I'm pulling it from this one. Yeah.
she said that,
Okay. So you. I know, this camera is on. Oh, yes.